Welcome back to ARC PDX. We are continuing our deep dive into the National Guard deployment in Oregon. And joining us now live is Alek Skarlatos, Oregon State Representative for District 4, and a really important voice on this because you're also a former Oregon Army National Guard soldier. Alek, thank you so much for joining us on ARC PDX this morning.
Anytime, thank you.
Yeah, so Oregon National Guard troops are kind of in limbo right now. Like, they're federalized, but President Trump can't deploy them. Can you tell us what you think they're doing right now and maybe how you imagine they may be feeling?
I would imagine they're just training up for the mission, trying to get ready. National Guard troops, I imagine these are infantry or MP units as well. And so they know a little bit about this, that is riot control, but they're not specialized in it. And anytime they're getting ready to deploy anywhere in the world, they usually have a short period of train up. So I imagine that's what they're doing right now, regardless. Unfortunately, the units keep switching. At first it was supposed to be the Oregon National Guard, then maybe the California National Guard, so we'll see.
Okay, yeah. Help us understand what exactly the National Guard would be doing at federal buildings in Oregon if they're deployed, and maybe what their most important role would be.
They would basically just be supplementing federal law enforcement, doing whatever federal law enforcement needs more people to throw at. So typically that would just be things like riot control, helping control, areas of roadways and not letting people into certain parts. Just things like that, crowd control, basically, the most basic types of riot control, frankly.
And I mean, you were just mentioning too that they are training right now. Do you have the confidence that they will be properly trained and prepared to do things like that?
Yes, we did a little bit of training like this actually when I was in the National Guard, and it's not the most complicated thing in the world. And pretty much all National Guard troops take direction from their leadership. Of course, they're in the military, and their leadership is going to take direction from federal law enforcement. So they're not going to do anything outside the scope of what they're trained for and what they're supposed to be doing.
And, the argument from some people against the deployment of the National Guard is that militarized troops, suited up on the ground may bring fear, it may inflame tensions. What's your response to those concerns?
Well, I honestly think law enforcement is actually better equipped in a lot of ways. I mean, they have better training for these kinds of things. In particular, they actually have, frankly, more militarized equipment than even the National Guard does when it comes to things like this. Unfortunately, Portland Police Bureau is just not being allowed to do their job. I'm not sure if that's coming from their police chief or the governor or what. But again, keep in mind, federal troops wouldn't even have to be deployed to Portland if the actual Portland Police Bureau was doing their job and enforcing the law.
So we've been getting regular updates from PPB. They've now made 48 arrests since June. So from your standpoint, you say they're not being allowed to do their job. What more would you like to see them doing? What would you like to see changed?
Actually clear the street. I mean, we've had open protests in front of the ICE facility for, months now. Do their job, keep the street open, not allow protests to jaywalk and do all the things that they're doing. I mean, I don't even believe really that protesters should ask the government for permission to protest. I don't think that that's really what a protest is. But if you do protest, you have to follow the law. And just because Portland Police Bureau is arresting people doesn't mean they're not releasing them the very next day right back out on the street. 48 arrests could be the same 3 people over and over and over again. I mean, we have to actually enforce the law and charge these people if they're committing crimes.
And, we have recently, since Kristi Noem's visit, Portland Police did increase their presence down there. They had that buffer zone up for a little bit. That's now gone, but we are still seeing more officers. Does that make you more comfortable with this and maybe feel like maybe National Guard troops wouldn't be necessary because of that? Or do you still think that, the troops would be necessary?
I think the troops would be necessary. And at the end of the day, I don't think it really hurts anything. I mean, it's unfortunate that they've had to basically threaten to bring in the National Guard to enforce the law in downtown Portland just for Portland Police Bureau to get off their butt and actually start doing something about this. I mean, increasing their presence. Why didn't they increase their presence back in June?
Okay, Alek Skarlatos, we really appreciate your perspective on all of this, Oregon State Representative and former National Guardsman. Thank you so much for joining us.
Anytime.